The Internet of Things, or IoT as it's more commonly known, is a network of physical devices. For example, cars or home appliances, things like lights, equipment, and they're all connected by a common network, namely the Internet. Now, like the name says, this is literally a network of things that are connected over the Internet. These devices all have the ability to provide operational data, health information, activity data, all sorts of other types of data through sensors and electronics or software. Well, like I mentioned, the main mode of communication is through this common network that we have, namely the Internet. And the way that communication is received by users, other machines, or a management console is through software, like an app. The main limitation that exists today is that each set of devices communicates in its own nicely walled garden through its own app. So a lot of Internet-enabled devices don't really talk to one another. Now, in the future, manufacturers will use a common standard or a common architecture, and this is going to enable a greater variety of devices to be interconnected for true IoT. Well, one example that most of us can probably relate to, and some of us might already be using this today, is a home security system. Maybe in a home, a motion is detected on your security camera, and imagine you're notified via an app on your mobile phone. Well, that's a really simple use of IoT, but take that a bit further. Imagine if it could be linked to some other devices in your home, like on your front door. Maybe the motion triggers an additional lock or turns on the lights in your house. Maybe even in the future, some types of specific activity could be initiated, like a robot or a drone comes out to investigate. It's not too far-fetched. Well, last year, the number of IoT devices exceeded the number of human beings on Earth for the very first time. IDC predicts that by 2020, IoT spending will surpass the $1 trillion mark. And industries that are expected to spend the most on IoT products and services are manufacturing, transportation, and utilities. In businesses, IoT today includes things like support for manufacturing operations, asset management, supply chain management, freight monitoring, fleet management, smart grids for utilities, connected vehicles, and even smart buildings. Well, let's take the example of a connected vehicle. Now, maybe you're driving down the highway and your check engine light comes on. Not good. It turns out that a component in your gearbox might have malfunctioned, and this has been picked up by the manufacturer's platform, which is constantly gathering and analyzing data that's transmitted from all sorts of sensors in your car and the engine. The platform triggers a mobile alert to let you know what the issue is, and it offers an appointment for servicing and automatically orders a replacement part for that faulty component from the manufacturer's warehouse. Now, what a great customer experience this would be. All of this is based on information that is being shared back and forth in an IoT ecosystem, triggering the right actions all automatically. So imagine all of the components of an airplane, or all of the vehicles in a fleet of trucks, or the medical devices in a hospital being able to communicate with one another and provide all sorts of data, device health information, predictive maintenance information, and insights and recommendations related to that information. That is where IoT is going. And in many ways, the future is already here. Some of the biggest concerns with IoT today largely have to do with privacy, security, and safety. And one of the reasons that companies have chosen to keep their IoT offerings closed in those walled gardens is to make them more secure. In the future, there are other technologies that are going to help allow for greater privacy, security, and safety in the IoT arena. And this is going to allow for more data and information sharing across a much more diverse set of devices and platforms. Well, we're entering into a stage of development in IoT where not just individual devices, but entire fleets of airplanes, cars, appliances, locations like roadways and rail networks, organisms like plants and animals on a farm, they're all going to be having the ability to generate data and receive input through IoT. And that then can be analyzed and allow us to optimize the usage, output, outcomes, and the systemic efficiency of these devices and organisms. When IoT is coupled with things like data science or artificial intelligence, the members of an IoT system, they won't just have onboard intelligence, they'll be brilliant in their own narrow specialized intelligence. Now, these intelligent devices are acting as members of an IoT system, and they have the prospect of communicating with one another. And through something like AI, they'll be able to learn to optimize outcomes for short and long-term benefits that will help human society as a whole.